This is Madman.TV here, David speaking, talking to the wonderful Matthew Macklin. First of all, how are you?
I'm not too bad. Yourself?
I'm doing fabulous, thank you. We're very lovely to meet you, first time on the channel. First of all, before we talk about the channel, things like that, how have you been, what you been up to really?
Sorry?
I've said, we just wanted to ask how you've been, what you sort of been up to recently.
Yeah, good. We had a busy end to last year with the show in Liverpool. Lauren Price, very emphatic win. Also Tasha Jonas, and obviously on the back of that, straight out to Saudi for the rematch with Usyk Fury. Fairly quick start to the year with Callum Simpson up in Sheffield. He got a good win against Steve Woodall, and now quickly back out here in Wembley. With a good main event. I think particularly the main event, a good card, but I think the main event in particular is a good fight. Adam Azim against Sergey Lipinets. It's kind of the step up. Former world champion, very experienced, very seasoned, and it's kind of, has he bitten off more than he can chew, or is it the right fight at the right time for Adam Azim? I think it's the right fight at the right time. I think he will win, but it's a good fight.
Absolutely, and obviously over the last 12 months we've seen some great boxing action. From your point of view as a former fighter, how much have you seen the sport get this kind of exposure again? And want to talk a bit more about the Riyadh season as well. How much of an influence, positive influence, has that had on the type of fights we've sort of seen recently?
Well, I think we've seen some fights happen that might not have happened had it not been for the Riyadh season investment. We've seen some great fights. We had the disputed, two of them, Usyk and Fury, and then the rematch. We had the undisputed light heavyweight title fight between Beterbiev and Bivol, of which we're again seeing the rematch because it was a close fight. I think the boxing world were divided on who they thought should have won. A lot of people thought Bivol should have won it. Lots of people said no, it was the right decision. And they had Beterbiev. It was razor. It was so close. I think it could have gone either way, in fairness. So I think it's only right that they are doing it again. I think it's great that in terms of exposure, I just think television's changing the way we watch television, entertainment, with social media, with streaming services, with pay-per-view, with linear TV. It's constantly changing and evolving, and as people, we're changing how we watch things. People watch things on their phones as opposed to on a sit down on television and putting in a DVD or buying a pay-per-view. So it's all changing now. So I think you've got to keep evolving and moving with the times as they change.
Absolutely, and obviously as a former fighter yourself, do you sort of look at those events and think, oh, I wish I was on those cards as well, or maybe thinking, oh, wow, I wish I could get one of the big fighters on that card as well, if that sort of makes sense?
I think as of right now, that seems that the fights in Saudi Arabia on the Riyadh season it's the biggest platform at the minute. That's where the big fights are happening. So when you're involved in sport, you want to compete at the highest level, on the highest stage. So yeah, if I was boxing around now, I would want to be on those cards.
Absolutely. And speaking on that rematch result that we've got in February 22nd between Beterbiev and Bivol, who do you think is going to win the rematch really? Who have you got thinking, okay, this is going to be like a win for Bivol or win for Beterbiev, or is it going to be as close as it was last time?
I think it'll be close again. I think it's a tough one to pick again. I thought last time I fancied Beterbiev to win. I had it a draw. That said, I would say I would probably make Bivol a slight favourite going into this one because I think he's the younger man, the fresher man, and I just feel that he can probably improve more on his performance, more so than what Beterbiev can. Absolutely.
And on that fight card as well, you've got Joseph Parker and Daniel Dubois for the IBF heavyweight title. First of all, Dubois, what a year he's had. Do you think it's probably his toughest test yet as IBF world champion? And do you think Joseph Parker is going to give him the test, probably going to give Daniel Dubois his hardest test yet?
Definitely. Dubois, you're right, he's on a roll. The Miller fight, the Hrgovic fight, the AJ fight, he's boom, boom, boom. He's gathering serious momentum. He's growing in confidence. He's becoming a better fighter, and he's in the peak of his career right now. but also Joseph Parker, you could say the same. You know, the Wilder win, the Zhila Zhang win, and was busy before that. You know, he's stayed active. And again, I think Parker is probably in the best form of his career. You know, even though he was a world champion and lost the title to Anthony Joshua way back, I think the Parker of today is a better Parker than the one who fought AJ 7 years ago, I guess now. And I think it's a tough one to pick a winner, because you know it's hard. It's hard to back against Dubois with the form he's in, coming off that win against AJ. But you know, it's also equally difficult to pick against Joseph Parker in the form he's in. So it's a proper pick and fight.
Absolutely. And I want to talk a bit, getting back to this card as well. We've got, you know, such yet another good card here for Saturday night. Adam Azim headlining against Sergey Lipinets. You've obviously got Callum Simpson back on the card as well. Is there any fights in this card other than the main event that you sort of look at thinking, oh, this is like a very good fight, or this is like a fight that you're certainly looking forward to?
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing Callum Simpson again, because I like that he's fighting again so quickly after just boxing. I thought he looked really impressive against Steve Woodall. Steve Woodall is a good fighter. I thought it was a premature stoppage. That said, I think it was going that way. He may even have stopped him within that round, but I just thought it was a bit premature. Sorry.
No, it's all right. No, it's all good.
When they jumped in and stopped it, I thought it was a bit premature. But you know, he's on a roll right now, Callum Simpson. So it's good that he's staying busy, and yeah, I'm just curious to see how good he is. You know, because so far, I've probably in his last two fights, he surprised me with how, not that he won necessarily, but with how decisively he won. You know, I thought the Chelly fight would be a real difficult fight for him. I think I probably favoured Chelly, but he was like, he coasted, he won easy, dominant probably every round, and even Woodall I thought would be a tough fight for him, but he didn't, he just blew him out. So, you know, he's obviously better than I've been giving him credit for, so I'm certainly picking him in a big way on Saturday night, and it'd be great to see what he can do this year. He started it well, he's just got to keep it going now.
And for a fighter like Callum Simpson as well, if he gets to win on Saturday, how far do you think he can go for the rest of this year, really? And do you think he can go on and do the bigger, better fights? And speaking on Callum Smith as well, the support he's had from, you know, Barnsley and Yorkshire as well, how important as a fighter of, you know, Callum Simpson to get that support from your hometown in particular? Yeah,
it's huge for him, because it's great in terms of confidence and support, but it's also great from a revenue point of view. You know, he's selling out arenas and stadiums. He's bringing a lot of revenue, so the promoters can pay him more money, but also there's more money in the kitty to maybe pay for opponents to come and fight him there or here. So there's also a great fight on the 22nd between Joshua Buatsi and Callum Smith. You know, that's the light heavyweight division, but you know, Callum Simpson's big super middle. You know, it wouldn't shock you if he moved up at some point. But I suppose he wants to, you know, get himself in a position and challenge for a world title at super middle. He's British champion now. I'd imagine he's targeting the European title next. That should be his sort of next short-term goal. But I think long-term he wants to become world champion.
Absolutely. And his opponent as well. You know, he was very confident, his opponent, Elvis. You know, he was very confident getting himself out there. He's probably going to come in, you know, as the unknown. How important as fighters to sort of, you know, big yourself up and to sort of put yourself out there, not only in the ring but outside of the ring as well?
Yeah, I think, yeah, definitely. You know, look at Conor McGregor, look at Prince Nassim Hamed. You know what I mean? If you're well able to talk yourself up and promote yourself, and that's your personality, and you've got that level of charisma, then it's fantastic. That said, if that isn't who you are, and you don't have that personality, and you try to be like that, it doesn't work. I think the most important thing is to be authentic, and be honest, and people, you know, there's an audience out there for every type of personality there is. You know, some people love that Conor McGregor, Prince Nassim Hamed, in your face personality. Lots of people don't like it, but everyone tunes into it. You know, Ricky Hatton had a massive fan base, and he wasn't like that. So, you know, you don't have to be flamboyant, but of course, it doesn't do any harm. If you genuinely are, then it's a good thing, I guess.
And obviously, 2 more questions for me. How important is it, you know, to have characters like that in the sport of boxing? Obviously, in the day and age of perhaps political correctness, social media as well, perhaps you don't get as much characters in the world of sport, not just in boxing as well. How important is it to for a sport like boxing to have characters like that?
I think massive. I think boxing's always had characters. You go down through the years, you look at people like, you know, Muhammad Ali, you know, what a character, what a guy. And, you know, it's the life stories, it's the personalities, the characters that I think a lot of the time, which is the selling point to the casual fan as much as it is what happens in the ring. You know, people buy into the people as much as they do the actual fighter.
Absolutely. And last question from me, in terms of the main event as well. Big main event on Saturday. Obviously, you've spoken to Lipinets. He's targeting, you know, to get back in the world title picture. Adam Azim coming off a win against O'Hara Davis. Whoever wins the fight, do you think it's onwards and upwards for whoever wins the fight on Saturday?
Definitely. I think, look, Lipinets is probably on the back end of his career. He's picked up a couple of defeats. Do you know what I mean? He's probably a little bit shot-worn. So he's probably not on the forefront of anyone's minds in terms of a world title fight. But if he's to beat a young up-and-coming prospect who's becoming a bit of a star, if he can beat that guy all of a sudden, you know, he reignites his career. It's a real shot in the arm and puts him back up there. So, you know, huge incentive for him to win. And of course, Adam Azim, Lipinets is that name that takes him to that next level.
Absolutely. And on that note, Matthew, we really appreciate your time. Thank you very much, and we can't wait to see what happens on Saturday.
Cheers, thanks.